Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I have learned as I have grown into the person that I am today. It is only on this video, whenever I start this channel to film something over here, Tucker and Boo always, come over here, come on. They always, you wanna come over here, Boo? Boo said, I don't know. He said, I might want some meditations for today. You want some meditations? He said, I don't know. What have you been doing all day? He said, well, we've been playing outside. What? You're going on an adventure? He said, yeah, don't even worry about it. I'm my own person. Where are you going on an adventure? He said, well, I like Hawaii an awful lot. Hawaii? He said, yeah, I love Hawaii. Oh, don't you guys love puppies so much? I love puppies so much. You guys are the best friends I've ever had in my entire life. All right, let's get into today's meditations. I brought the 3 new books. I'm trying to like sneak around the dog. I brought the 3 new books that I have purchased. Tucker just keeps on running around in a circle. What do you want to read today? Here, you pick. You pick the book. Oh, he picked The Daily Stoic and Believing in Myself. Those were the 2 that he picked for today. So let's get into this. Today is July. God, I wish. I wish it was July and I was going to the pool. Today is January 6th. I have been keeping up with my new gratitude journal, by the way. Okay, so today is January 6th. Let's get in here. The Daily Stoic, January 6th. Where, is it the 5th or is it the 6th? Why do I think it's the 5th today? No, it's the 6th. January 6th, where, who, what, and why. A person who doesn't know what the universe is doesn't know where they are. A person who doesn't know their purpose in life doesn't know who they are or what the universe is. A person who doesn't know any of these things doesn't know why they are here. So what to make of people who seek or avoid the praise of those who have no knowledge of where or who they are? Marcus Aurelius, Meditations 8.52. The late comedian Mitch Hedberg had a funny story he told in his act. Sitting down for an on-air interview, a radio DJ asked him, so who are you? In that moment, he had to think, is this guy really deep or did I drive to the wrong station? How often are we asked a simple question like, who are you? Or what do you do? Or where are you from? Considering it is a superficial question, if we even consider it at all, we don't bother with more than a superficial answer. But gun to the head, most people couldn't give much in the way of a substantive answer. Could you? Have you taken the time to get clarity about who you are and what you stand for? Or are you too busy chasing unimportant things, mimicking the wrong influences, and following disappointing or unfulfilling or non-existent paths? Interesting question. You know, I think I don't know. It's hard because that question of who are you and what do you stand for. I had a friend of mine several years ago who had spent quite a bit of time in Europe and was from here actually. And he said to me, we were talking, we were like almost the same age. And he said, you know, it's very interesting when you go to like a dinner party in Europe. And I think he spent most of his time in France. And he said, it's interesting that people don't ask you questions like, so what do you do for a living? Or, you know, like how long have you lived here? Or, you know, where do you live? And I mean, in Indianapolis, if I go to a dinner party, people ask me like, what do you do? Which for a long time, I kind of made up stuff. I would say like I was a meter maid. If you don't know what that is, it's like somebody that goes along and checks like the meters, like the parking meters. Because whenever I would say to people, you know, whatever, like I made videos on YouTube, they'd always be like, well, I don't understand what that means. They were so confused. It was just easier, you know? So, and I don't really feel like it says a lot about who I am anyway, you know? I don't think that at the end of the day, when we strip all of that aside, you know, like, who are we really? Like, what are our principles that we stand by? One of my favorite quotes of life is from the movie The Contender. And if you've ever seen the movie, it's fantastic. And it's about this woman that is up to be a part of the Supreme Court, a justice of the Supreme Court. And there are all of these rumors that come out. Tucker is literally walking around the ring light. Tucker, you're caught. What, honey? Come up. You can come up here. Okay. So these rumors come out about her that, why can't I think of her name? It's Anne something. I can never remember her name. Anyway, these rumors come out about her that she was part of this sex scandal that occurred when she was in college. And there was these pictures that come out, and she's unwilling to address them. And at the end of the movie, it comes out that these pictures were doctored and that there was no truth to it whatsoever, right? And the president, who like comes to tell her that she, you know, is the justice or whatever, says to her, you knew the whole time that there was no truth to these. Why didn't you say anything? And she said, principles only mean something when you stick to them if they're inconvenient. And I love that quote so much. You know, if you ask yourself how many times, like things you truly, truly believe in, you know, do you really stick by those beliefs? Do you really stick by those principles when they're inconvenient? You know, if you're sitting at a lunch with some friends and they say something that goes completely against what you believe in, do you say something? Do you stand up? Or do you say, oh, I don't like confrontation. Like, I don't want to cause any problems between my friends, you know? I have often felt in those situations that a little bit of me is dying inside when I don't stand up for something, you know? And I grew up, interestingly enough, with two very drastically different parents. You know, my dad is somebody that never engages, kind of like there's only been a few moments in his life, and standing up for me being gay has actually been one of them. But there have been very few moments in his life when I think that he's been truly confrontational in a situation like that. My mother, on the other hand, was somebody that people would say did not pick her battles, and she literally challenged every situation and would put people in there. She asked people to, like, at times, like, you know, she would say, like, if you're this negative, you don't need to be around me, or if you think that way or you use those words. And I look back on that and I admire that today, you know. No, I don't want to be like that 24 hours a day, but I admire that, you know. I admire that ability to stand up for what you believe in. And that's why I love that quote so much, that principles only mean something if you stand by them when they're inconvenient. And if you think about your principles and what they are and what you truly believe in, there's a lot of moments in this world where our principles are inconvenient for us. Inconvenient because we don't want to get into a fight with somebody, or we don't want to cause whatever, right? But maybe it's more important in that moment to stand by what you truly believe. And so then it's an important question to ask ourselves, what do you really believe in? And that doesn't really have a whole lot to do, you know, unless what you believe in has something to do with your career. That doesn't really have a lot to do with, do you live in a house or a condo or an apartment? It doesn't really have to do with any of that kind of stuff. I almost kind of think that questions like, you know, like, what artists do you like? Who do you read? What movies do you watch? You know, what songs do you like? Who's your favorite musician? I almost feel like those things tell us more about our soul and our personality than questions like, what do you do for a living? But I have to tell you, whenever I go to a dinner party, which, you know, these days is rare, but whenever I do and I meet somebody new, that's literally always the question, you know? And it always feels kind of like a one-up kind of thing, you know, like, oh, what do you do for, you know? And I never really, like, that's, I don't know, I never really, like, in my entire life, I've never really known how to ask that question. Like, you know, I would rather talk about music or books or whatever, you know? But then when I turn and I say, so what's your favorite book? Or I like to read, what's your favorite book? They never have an answer, you know, or it's something that they read when they were, you know, in high school, or something that they don't remember at all. But anyway, that's just because I love to read and other people don't, and that's totally fine, you know? But maybe finding out a little bit more about each other than just these superficial things, you know? But I guess for us to be able to do that with one another, we have to really know who we are deep down inside too, and I think that's a question that we don't ask each other, or we don't ask ourselves often, you know? Who am I really? Like, who am I really, really, really deep down inside, you know? And I don't know that I don't know that I have an answer to that. I don't know that I knew that for a long time, you know? There are some things that I fundamentally believe in. I believe that there are lessons to be found in this world, and that lessons are repeated until they are learned. So I look for the lesson in things. You know, I heard an interview, or I saw an interview, you can watch it on YouTube, with Oprah and RuPaul. And in the interview, Oprah asks RuPaul something to the effect of, I just talked about it on here recently, something to the effect of, like, what do you think the meaning of life is? And RuPaul says something to the effect of being a good person, really enjoying life to the fullest, and being an example of that to other people, that's what life is all about. And she's like, I like that. You think that's what the meaning of life is? And I thought about that, you know, like, to wake up every day and be the best version of yourself, try to be a truly good person inside, you know? And then to have fun and enjoy life, because life is about being, like, listen, you know, that's why I think, like, martyrdom really, like, drives me nuts. It's like, okay, you're the greatest person in the entire world, but did you really enjoy your life? You know, like, I used to work this is a little unknown fact, but nuns often work a lot in recovery. And I've worked around a lot of nuns in my life. And, you know, nuns who we think of, speaking of being stoic, are some of the most stoic people ever, right? And very quiet and whatever, are also some of the most hilarious people I've ever been around in my life, and really do truly enjoy life and believe that life is a gift that was given to them by God, you know? And I think back on some of those people that I worked with that were just absolutely hilarious, you know, and loved food, to try different kinds of food and things like that, and really, you know, were examples of living a good life, living a pure life, but also living the best life that they possibly could, that they were given, you know. So that's a great meditation, I think. And then I'm going to read from A Year of Positive Thinking, Daily Inspiration, Wisdom, and Courage by Cindy Spiegel. It's this book. Like I said yesterday, I put both of these books, or all these books, I think maybe, yeah, I don't know, I may not have put this one in there. I had a hard time finding these books on Amazon. Well, I bought them on Amazon, but then to put them in the store, which you don't have to buy them from there, but it'll give you an example of what they look like. Okay, let's see, January 6th. Don't give your thoughts too much power. Your thoughts are subjective and flexible, so don't allow them to rule every choice that you make. Just like you think negative thoughts, you can think more positive ones too. You can train yourself to think differently by acting in ways that align with the thoughts you prefer to have, and catching yourself when you have thoughts that don't align. Changing your thinking is a practice, but one well worth the time. Considering that you have between 50,000 and 70 thoughts per day, oh my God, think about that. It's crazy, isn't it? It pays not to give your thoughts too much power over your life. Wow, that is really, really powerful. Talking about power of thoughts, you know, that how much of our negative thoughts, our down thoughts, you know, are the ones that we really, you know, tune into. I think in my life, probably many, you know. There's this saying in recovery that's like first thought bad, you know, that whatever, like, our reaction to something is probably not the most appropriate action. I have friends of mine that grew up in very strict religious households, you know, that have told me that they were taught that even to think something was basically a sin. And, you know, you think about that, like being raised in that kind of environment, like where you have like really negative thoughts about something, or, you know, like, well, if the world worked my way, blah, blah, blah. Well, the world doesn't. And, you know, I'm not the pilot of what's going on with my life. And I think that it is about focusing and changing, you know. I haven't told this story in here for a while, so I'll tell it. Several years ago, I was somebody that was very, very negative, very, very pessimistic. It's something that I've worked on my whole life, but definitely the last 2 years, I've really focused a lot on it. Really focused a lot on myself, which is why I've said that one of the greatest learning experiences that I've had in my life is that, you know, I think often we want to tell on somebody. If you knew what that person did to me, or blah, 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 and I got ate up with that too. It was like, if you knew what this person did to me, let me tell on this person. Let me show you who they really are. If you knew who this person really was, you would want nothing to do with them anymore, right? I think we've all had that feeling or wanted to do that at times, or have done that at times. And what I realized in the last, well, it's been 3 years, I guess, last 3 years, was that when I'm doing that, right, and I'm focused on this person over here, and I'm focused on what they need to do to change and what they need to do to grow and all this. Yes, it's true that it's, you know, if you're pointing a finger at them, there's 3 fingers pointing back. Yeah, I believe that to some extent. You know, it's kind of a corny saying. But if I'm focusing my attention on this person over here, that's less attention that I'm focusing on myself to grow as a human being. And quite frankly, I am way too selfish today to give my time or my day or my energy to somebody else that I'm not even going to know where they're at 5 or 10 years from now, okay? And I need to focus on myself and the growth that I can do. I don't want to work on their growth. They need to work on their growth. I need to work on mine. You know what I mean? And I don't want to give them my energy or my time anymore. I want to work on being the best version of myself that I can be. That's been one of the most valuable lessons I've learned. Probably the most valuable lesson I've learned in the last couple years is that any attention or time that I'm given to somebody else, I mean, like, really where I become like almost obsessed about it, is time or energy that I'm taking away from myself. And really, I can't control other people or other things anyway, you know, so I need to focus on myself. The other thing is that I learned was, you know, I asked my husband one year for Christmas. This was probably 7 or 8 years ago. I said, what do you want for Christmas? And he said, all I want from you next year is to be positive and happy. Like, you're so negative about things. And I am. And my husband is somebody that's very positive about things. Or I was, I should say. I don't believe that I am that today. And You know, when I think about who I was and that I was somebody that got, you know, full of rage and anger and this need to always be right and telling somebody, you know, like that, ooh. And I look at who I am today, and that is where, to me, that is evidence to me that you can change as a human being. You can become a different person inside, because I have really worked hard. And I don't have really that in me today. Do I have the ability? Yeah, I absolutely do. Do I think I could go there? Sure. Do I think I could go there as quickly as I used to? No, I haven't in a while. I don't go there often, you know? Could I? Sure, I think I could. I don't want to. I don't want to be that person today. And I think that's where, you know, desire meets opportunity meets awareness, is that, you know, you start changing. But so I took a picture of myself smiling that year for Christmas, and it's still next to my husband's bed. And I gave it to him, and he was like, what is this? And I said, this is to show you that I'm going to change and be positive and happy. And, you know, it was something I really, really had to work hard on. I was like, if I was in a group of people, I wanted to always say something that was very sarcastic and negative because it got a lot of attention. And what I realized was how I felt inside was more important than the attention. I didn't need to be the snarkiest, most sarcastic human being there, which I can be very easily, you know? I learned that I had good, you know, like my mom and my dad were both very much like that, you know, like let's make fun of all this and be sarcastic and whatever. So I kind of grew up with that kind of humor. And the other thing was that I realized was a lot of my humor was based in how I really felt. I really was negative about things. I really did complain about a lot. It was like I was complaining in my vlog today, and I was like, I hardly ever complain over here in my vlog, but you know, like I think we all have complaints, but I'm talking about where it's literally everything that comes out of your mouth, where you truly know inside, I'm like such a downer to be around. I'm so negative that people don't want to be around me. And that's where I was at that point. And I vowed I don't want to be that way anymore. You know, they say it takes 21 days to change a habit. I don't know how true that is, but that's been what scientists have said, you know. But I worked really, really hard that year on focusing on the positive. I was somebody that always saw the glass as half empty instead of half full. And I decided I didn't want to see the glass as half empty anymore. I wanted to see it overflowing, you know? I'm somebody today, like I have woken up the last 2 days, I think it's just because of the gloominess outside, and I've really struggled, you know? But like very quickly, now it takes me about 20 minutes to a half an hour to kind of pull out of it and be like, yeah, dancing in the car and all that kind of stuff, you know? But back in the day, it was like that whole day was ruined. I would just allow the whole day to be ruined over it. I'm not willing to do that anymore. Life is short. I'm not willing to give it away. Like I've got to take advantage of every opportunity that is given to me, and that is moment by moment, second by second, the joy that is overflowing. And I want to be an example of that to others, that life can be this joyous, amazing thing that, yes, tragedy is going to happen, hardships are going to happen, you know, but I don't do real well. I don't know about you, but I don't do real well dealing with tragedy and negativity in my life when I'm all hyped up, toxic, and chaotic anyway. I deal much better with it when I'm calm and peaceful and serene. Then I know how to suit up and show up and how to address it and be part of the solution instead of being part of the problem. In the past, I was always part of the problem. Hell, I was the problem, you know. I don't want to be the problem today. I want to be the solution. So anyway, let me know what you think about that in the comment section below. I love you guys. They always do that at the end, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.